Hey, how's it going everyone? My name's Dean, or as most of you can see, my video channel is called, YouTube channel, sorry, is called Twisty3, and today I'm going to be doing a Q&A video to say thank you guys so much for hitting 20,000 subscribers. That's a crazy number, like ridiculous number. So, ask you guys on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Discord to send me some questions. Let's start off. This first one is on Twitter. This is from Andre, and he says, do you have a GF, I'm guessing a girlfriend, or interested in anyone? Well, I don't have a girlfriend at the moment, and whether or not I'm interested in anyone, wouldn't you like to know? The next question comes also from Twitter. This is from Reagan. He says, do an AFL Evolution player career mode as Jake Waterman from the West Coast Eagles. Now that seems more like a demand rather than a question, so I'll go with your other question, which was, would you consider doing a Richmond game vlog if they play in Perth at the new Perth Stadium? This is definitely something I've thought about. I already looked at the fixture. Richmond does play West Coast at the new Perth Stadium in round 9, I think it is. It's a Sunday afternoon game, and if I was to go to that game, then I would totally vlog it 100%. This one's from Evie, and he says, how tall are you, mate? Somewhere between Tyrion Lannister and Jon Snow. Next question comes from Blake. He says, who is your favourite cricketer to watch / who entertains you the most? In terms of, I've always been a guy who's been a big fan of the bowlers. I never really got into, the batsmen. I was always a big fan of the bowlers. So, obviously Nathan Lyon's very, good to watch. But I was always a fan of someone who bowled really good pace. So Paddy Cummins and Mitchell Starc are definitely up there in terms of who are my favourite players to watch. Although I do like Glenn Maxwell. I feel like he's a very unique player, and I do like watching him a lot. This next one comes from Jack Wilson, and he says, can you do more Ashes career mode on Twitch? Now, for those of you who don't know, I stream on Twitch about 5 nights a week, Sunday through Thursday. A lot of the time on there, I do a lot of variety stuff, and I try to keep most of the sports stuff to YouTube by itself rather than pushing it over to Twitch. I like to keep a lot of variety over there. The reason for that is just because if I spend a lot of time actually recording sports games during the day, I kind of want to chill out and play something different at night. So there may be more Ashes on Twitch, but I can't guarantee anything. This next question is from Josh. He says, favorite non-Richmond AFL game that you have watched live or on TV? This is a tough one. I think growing up, probably the 2005-2006 Grand Finals. Now, I know they weren't like the most, the highest skilled games. There was a ton of stoppages in them. But I just like the excitement and the close finish of a grand final. It was probably one of the better things I got to witness growing up. This next one is from Franco. He says, before the season even started, did you think that the Tigers would win the premiership this year? Definitely not. I come into every season being really hopeful about how we're going to go. I think this year I thought, okay, we're not as bad as what we kind of were last year. I think maybe we'll get back into the top 8 and win a final. But in terms of going all the way, I definitely did not think that at the start of the season. This next question comes from Darcy. He says, Twitch or YouTube? Now, I'm guessing that's, which platform do I prefer? And while I do have a lot more followers and viewers over here on YouTube, I do prefer Twitch as a platform. I think it's a lot better for me to be able to communicate with you guys. Because in the comments section, so many things get buried, and it's a lot of time, like extra time, if I was to go through and answer all the comments. Whereas at least with Twitch, I can see a comment instantly, and I can instantly reply to it. So I know you guys are getting the messages straight away, and so that's why I prefer Twitch as a platform. But they both have their pros and cons about them. This next question is from Crick Wolf. He says, what was the first cricket match that you watched? I'm trying to think to the first cricket match I've been to live, and I think it was a one-day game. I think it was Australia. I think we were playing against South Africa, and it was at Etihad Stadium. This is back when they used to play international cricket at Etihad Stadium. I think we're playing South Africa. I remember Graham Pollock was in, saw the back end of one innings, and then saw the night time of the Australian innings, I think, which was pretty good. This next one is from Ash Main Forever, always on the Twitch stream. Says 2018 Brownlow and Premiership predictions. Well, I've got nothing really to go off here. I'm going to back in, obviously, Richmond for a second flag, regardless of how much I think other teams are going to improve, because I have to. They're my team. Back them in. And for the Brownlow, I think it's a 3-horse race. I think, obviously, I think Dustin Martin to go back-to-back. I think Nat 5 had a fantastic IRS. He looks in really good form. I think Pendlebury could also be a smoky there. I don't think Dangerfield will be in the votes as much this year, with Selwood and Ablett to steal votes off him this time around. This next question comes from TS7, and he says, who do you think will not make it into the top 8 next year? I think you mean, obviously, from teams who were in this year. I think West Coast won't make the top 8 after they made it this year. And who else was in the top 8 that may drop out? It's a really tough one because it was a very strong top 8 last year. I'm just having a look at it now. I think West Coast obviously will be the one to move out, and maybe Sydney will be the other one to drop out of the top 8. I mean, we saw sort of how bad they were at the start of the season. I don't know how well they can continue their form. I think that it's going to be tough for the Swans this season. And this last one on Twitter comes from Blair. He says, would you rather support the Poms in cricket or die? I think I would rather live. But I could support England. You know, Australian kind of has an English heritage. But if we were playing Australia, obviously I'd support Australia. You don't actually say that I have to. There are rules behind this. I can support them against other teams. Don't have to support them against Australia. All right, let's move on to Instagram now. We got some questions over here. So this one's from Bradley. He says, hey, big fan of the channel. Thanks, mate. And he says, when did you first start getting into cricket? It was really young. I was in primary school still. My cricketing heroes were always like Shane Warne, Brett Lee. I remember back in the day where Australia they played like one-day games against the World 11. Like, that's what I remember. That's probably like 2004, 2003, 2005 we might have played the World 11. And that was really when I started getting into cricket. I just liked the sport. You know, it would be on for, you know, the whole day, and I could literally sit during the hot Australian summer on the couch for the entire 8 hours of play or whatever it was, just watch a test match. So I just always like cricket. This next one's from M. Schultz, and he says, A, congrats. Well-deserved, Dean. Hard work does make things happen, and that's the one and only reason you've earned this. Thanks, mate. He says, hard work, quality content, and just being yourself. Well done. So thank you very much for that heartwarming message, Mr. Schultz. And he says, what's your favorite part about being a YouTuber and some of the things you take out of it? I think that just the people that you come across, not only from people who watch your videos, but other creators you meet. Like whenever I go to like a PAX, or this year I got to go to TwitchCon, there's just so many amazing people with creative ideas, and there's so many things you could use to bounce off them. It's good to have a voice, but it's also good to know how to use that voice, and that's why I'm going to talk about some interesting things over the next couple of weeks. I hope you guys watch those videos. But I just think it's the people, you know, it has to be the people that you come across, whether they watch your videos or whether they are a fellow creator. There's a lot of amazing people out there, and I think too much of the internet is filled with negativity, so I like to embrace the positive side of things. This next one's from Connor Bell. He says, what age did you start YouTube and why? I think the first YouTube video I made was the 10th of October in 2010. That would make me 15 or 14 or 15. And I was making Call of Duty speed hack videos. It was like the coolest thing ever. I was playing Modern Warfare 2 one day, and we went into this private lobby with a guy we knew who had a modified PS4 or PS3, sorry, and he turned this thing on so you could move at like 10 times speed. It was super cool. We used to get out on the maps, and I was like, this is cool, I'd like to share this, so I made some videos on that. Then we played a lot of Minecraft together. I was like, I want to share some Minecraft. And then obviously AFL Live came out April 2011, and I started making videos on that, and some people started watching, and I was like, holy crap. I remember the first time my video got over 50 views, and I was like so hyped with excitement. I was like, oh my god, this is the coolest thing ever. 50 people watched my video, and now I've had over 5 million people click on my YouTube videos over the years, and that's crazy. Like, I've made over 1,000 videos. What am I doing with my life? I think the why behind it is sort of like, It's something you want to share. You don't make videos because you say, all right, this is the job I want to do, or this is how I can make some money. You start videos because you go, hey, this is something I like, I think it's really cool, and I want to share that with people. And that's what I did with AFL. I was really into AFL. Then obviously the cricket game came out a few years later after I was doing some more variety content as well, and I pushed that, and people love that. So I think I've really seen my content evolve from that, and I'm really happy with how it's gone. Big Wheels also asks, what made you start YouTube? I think I kind of answered that one. Cranwell Nathan says, favorite Ashes moment. And this is an easy one for me. It was when Shane Warne took his 700th wicket in the 06-07 Ashes series. And I was at the MCG. We were about to go, actually, because I was about 11 at the time, or maybe 10, because it was 2006. It was Boxing Day 2006. I remember we were staying at our grandparents' house for Christmas with a bunch of the other family members. We got up at some ridiculous hour, like 5 a.m, because my auntie wanted to go to the Boxing Day sales, so she went with my sister and I went with my uncle to the cricket. It was coming up just after the lunch break, I think it was, or maybe just before the lunch break. We weren't there very long, but they wanted to drive back. They'd done their shopping and stuff, so because it was a couple of hours out of the city, we had to go, but we're like, all right, we'll just stick around for another over here, and Warnie comes on to bowl, and he takes a wicket, and we go, oh! Like, it was sort of it was a moment of realization. We turned to each other and we're like, got him! And then we turned again and we were like, that's number 700! It was one of the coolest coolest things I've been able to witness, and that was really cool. That's 10 years ago now. That's crazy. And I would actually give an honorable mention to a couple of years ago, the 2013 Ashes series. I think it might have been the Adelaide Test match. I was on schoolies at the time, and there was just a bunch of us, just watching the cricket, drinking beers. That was a pretty cool moment as well. I was enjoying that. Next question's from Luke. He says, what were you thinking 5 minutes before the siren at the grand final? I knew we had the game won. I was enjoying it. I was in disbelief, and I was like, holy crap. Richmond are going to win the grand final. This next question is from George. He says, was the 2017 grand final win the best day of your life? Yes. This next question is from Rhino Pirate. He says, any big plans for the future? There's always big plans for the future. I think this year has been the best year of my life. I've had some really cool things happen. I did my first overseas trip. I turned 21. Richmond won the premiership. I hit 20,000 freaking subscribers. I got partnered on Twitch. So much cool stuff's happened this year. But why not make the next year even better? It's going to be a very hard year to top, but I have some big plans. We'll see how they pan out, I suppose. This next question is from Lachlan. He says, do you think EA will ever produce another Australian-based game alongside with Big Ant? I think no. I just think that EA are just EA. Next question is from Mitch Lloyd. He says, top 5 favorite AFL teams and 5 least favorite teams. I could probably tell you the least favorite. I don't really have a top 5 favorite. It would probably be, I honestly don't know. It keeps changing. Just Richmond's always number 1. Next question is from Nimish. He says, where do you live in Australia, Dean? In Australia, I actually live in Melbourne. Or, the surrounding parts of Melbourne in Victoria. Next question is from Stonesy. He says, would you rather play AFL Evo or Ashes cricket for the rest of your life? I would actually rather play no video games for the rest of my life. I could do without that, but I would probably go with football over cricket just because footy. Footy. This is from T. Sullivan. He says, well, who's your second favorite team in the AFL? It's probably similar to the top 5 one, where I really don't have an answer. The best thing I can give you is Collingwood, because my dad goes for Collingwood, but even then, I do like watching Collingwood lose, so I couldn't really consider them my second favorite team. This next question is from Hanu. He says, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, by the way. He says, when will you start vlogging? I do vlogs whenever I do anything interesting, so if I do more interesting things, I'll do more interesting vlogs. But a lot of the time, I sort of don't really vlog because there's not a lot of things I think that would be worthwhile to watch. My day is just pretty standard of going to the gym and making videos and maybe working. So yeah, basically when I'll do some more interesting stuff, then I will start vlogging. I'm trying to get through everything as quickly as I can, by the way. I know this is going to be a long video, but bear with me. This next one's from Max Manure. He says, what is your favorite color? I think it used to be like a really oceany blue color, but I love Richmond too much. It's got to be yellow. This question's from Ted Williams. He says, when will AFL Evo coach career resume? I know a lot of people really love that series. But for the summer part of the year, I'm going to focus on cricket stuff as well as other games. And then once we get back into the regulation AFL season, then I'm going to be doing some coach career stuff there as well. There's a few more people who like Lockie and Michael who asked what made me start YouTube. I kind of answered those ones. This one is from Anthony, and he says, what was/is the biggest motivation for you to do YouTube? I feel when people say do YouTube, they feel like you're doing it as a job, or you're just making videos. I feel like the best motivation, it's sort of the same thing as before, is it's just the people. I think the biggest motivation is, the people you come across when creating content and just seeing other people's reactions to something you've done, I think is really cool. So, the more people keep watching, the more you want to keep doing it and keep getting better. And then when you see other creators, copying things you do, you go like, that's really cool. I've been inspired by other creators, and it's cool to see other creators being inspired by what I'm doing. So I really like it. I just think that it's a very fulfilling job. It's a lot of hard work to put in to make these videos, but it's a really fulfilling job. This next one's from Young Sandwich. He says, Dean, who is your favorite cricketer of all time? This is a tie between Warnie, Brett Lee, and Adam Gilchrist. This one's from Massimo. He says, why do you go for Richmond? There's actually a video about this a while back. I'll see if I can link it, or maybe annotate on the screen somewhere here or here. The next question is from Riz Craig. If you had to pick a North Melbourne player to play for Richmond, who would it be? Ben Brown, Big Benny Brown. I would love him on the Tigers team. Alright, we're almost through Instagram, but this is the last one. What is the best part about having fans? How does it feel to have people look up to you? That is a really big question. One that I probably don't fully comprehend in terms of, people looking up to me. I try to, be the best me I can be on the internet. I think that it's very important that you understand your role as a creator, and that you're not going to shy away from the fact that people watch you, because whatever you do could influence other people to do things, especially if you've got a young audience, probably like I do. In terms of people looking up to me, I think that's pretty weird, because I'm just another normal person. For those of you who were there at the meetup this year, just another chill person who's, happy to just hang out, do normal things. I'm no different to other people, just live, you do you, boy. I mean, you do you. Just exactly don't change who you are because of anything you see on the internet. But I think it is pretty cool, but it's definitely something that I do think about and go, this is pretty crazy. This is pretty crazy, especially when, we ticked over 20,000 and I was sort of like, holy crap. So thanks for that question, Zane. And now that we're through all of Twitter and Instagram, let's go to Discord, because why not? This one's from Crossy. It says, how big your dick? No, he says, the weather's been good, hasn't it? But that's more of a statement. But the weather has been good. It's been reasonably hot. It's 30 degrees every day this week. Jezza says, do you plan on doing more fan meetups? Possibly. I don't know. I feel like if there's enough demand for it, I could do one. It's a very uncomfortable situation for me, but I will go through it. If enough people want to do one, I'll definitely, try and make it happen. There's a lot involved that we really should be prepared. I think next time, if I was to do another one, there'd be a lot more preparation involved, and I'd probably be a little more comfortable with the situation. And hopefully the preparation could fix that. But there's always a chance. Just need enough demand. This is from Goatwood. He said, be honest, did Dustin Martin really deserve the Norm Smith medal? There are plenty of good players on the ground that day. He was one of the best. Do I think he was the best player on the ground? He had 24 contested possessions, and that's a big difference. That is a big difference. I think he probably did deserve to win it. I don't think he was unworthy of the medal. As well as Basher did play, I think Dusty probably does take the cake just for the inside work he did. This is from Shitkicker. He says, can you inform us of your love interest? Who is the Twisty Three's love interest? Alright, well you've asked it twice, so I'll do a reveal. The person who I like is... this is from Dangerous Designs. He says, favorite non-sports game? PUBG, for sure. I'm actually getting into Fortnite a little bit too. And maybe Battlefront. There's never a normal question here. Oh, this is good. Crossy says, odds Tigers finish 9th this year. Now, Crossy, you know that the year is still 2017. All right, so this year, Richmond won the bloody flag. Oh! All right, that's enough from Crossy. We'll see how else we go. Then there's just like twisties in the shape of penises. Jesus, what are some of these questions? All right, we found one serious one here. This is from N2E says, how long does it take to record a video? I think most people on the internet generally understand the concept that a 5-minute video doesn't take 5 minutes to make, but it depends on what I'm actually creating. If it was a career mode video, it'd probably take 40 minutes to 45 minutes to record, probably an hour to edit, and then 10-15 minutes to upload, and then another half hour to render and upload. Oh yeah, and then for a career mode video, on Ashes, it can be anywhere from half an hour to an hour and a half of recording, double that for editing time, and then rendering and uploading is probably another half hour as well. And then I'm actually doing like a little Ashes series, which took about 2.5 hours to record per day's play, and there's a few days play in there, so that probably is going to take 12 hours to actually push out 4 or so videos. And that will do it, everyone. I got through every single question. I know this was a long video and it was sort of boring maybe at any point, but I wanted to make sure I got through every single question that I possibly could. Says 31 minutes, but I'm hoping to cut it down to something like 20. So we'll wait and see, but thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, viewing on Twitch, subscribing on Twitch, following on Twitch, following on Instagram, following on Twitter, messaging me at anywhere. 20,000 subscribers is a huge achievement that no one making AFL or cricket videos has ever done before. And I think you guys should be, thanked for that, because it really is, this community has sort of been born from nothing. So I feel very thankful that I've been able to create something really cool, and I love you guys. So thank you for watching. Leave a big thumbs up if you enjoyed, and I'll do another Q&A probably in 5,000 subs or something. But thank you for watching. Have a nice day, everyone. Bye.